Hey Soul Family, Gina Ortiz here. I wanted to take some time really quickly to talk to you guys about choices. Choices are big. We make 100 choices all day, every day, right? Some choices are, questions that are presented to us, ideas that are presented to us, and then from that information, we have to then make a choice. And some choices are completely unconscious, right? We drive to work and we determine the way we're going to go based on autopilot, right? So we're not even completely present for the thing that we're doing in that moment, right? It's just complete autopilot, and that's a choice, right? But it's unconscious. So in order to change our behaviors or modify the way we do things, improve our life, improve our health, develop a new lifestyle, reach a new goal, if we want more abundance in our life, more love in our life, if we're looking for more health, fitness, whatever the case may be, in order to create or to achieve those goals, we need to recognize our choices and recognize the reason why we're making the choices that we're making. This is huge, because if you are making choices and you're on autopilot, you're making choices based on unconscious beliefs, and that is probably moving you in the direction of where you don't want to be. A lot of times we even can consciously make a choice that is completely unconscious. And when we do that, we basically are dismissing whatever it is in that moment, our ability to be able to reach and achieve that goal, right? So let's say, for example, I want to lose weight, right? And I'm like, okay, this is my goal. I'm going to lose weight, and I'm going to do so starting tomorrow. And then we go into the office tomorrow, and there's donuts in the break room. And we're like, oh, God, those donuts look so good. Like, just one donut, right? I just started my diet today, but come on, one donut isn't going to hurt me, right? These are the thoughts that go through our head. Now, why do these thoughts go through our head? They don't go through our head because that's what we really want. Meaning, like, it's not the donut that we really want. It's more of the habitual pattern of making choices that may not serve our goal, right? And yes, some of that might be true. Like, okay, well, you're going to go work out today, so, you could burn that off or whatever the case may be. But it starts with just that one item, that one thing, and then you'll find that more likely than not, you make up additional excuses throughout the day to not stay aligned with your goal or your intention, right? So the most important thing you can do is, as you're observing your choices, okay, going back to this scenario, right? So I walk into the office, I go to the break room, and I'm like, oh my God, there's donuts. They look so good. They got bacon on them, whatever the case may be. And you're just like, God, I really want a donut. But you remember, okay, wait, my goal, I'm going to be conscious in this moment. My goal is to lose weight, let's say. Is this donut going to help me reach my goal? Point blank and period. Like, don't even ask any other questions. Is this donut going to help me reach my goal? If the answer is no, take pause. Now, you can still make a choice to eat the donut, but it's important that you recognize you have a choice. And when you do that, you need to tell yourself, you could say it in your head, you could say it out loud, whatever the case may be. I am making the choice to eat this donut, or I am making the choice not to eat this donut and be aligned with my goals, okay? When you do that, you begin to recognize that the behaviors that you do not want are behaviors that you have created based on unconscious beliefs. The thing here we want to do is make sure that we are explaining to our mind by saying, in this moment, I'm making the choice to eat this donut, or I'm not making the choice to eat this donut, and I'm going to stay committed and aligned to my goals. We want to make sure the mind recognizes that you are in control, that you are deciding and choosing what choices you will and won't make. It's that simple. Like, you've got to decide what's most important to you. Do you want to reach this goal, or do you want to make excuses about not reaching it? Or maybe it's just simply you can't resist the donut. I mean, it happens. I get it. But at least you're telling yourself, like, this is no one's fault. And I'm not going to beat myself up about it later. But I do know right now I have the option, and I can make the choice to either eat this donut or to walk away from it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the choice to eat it. Right? Again, and I'm obviously, that's worst case scenario. Hopefully what you'll do is say, I'm making the choice to not eat this donut. I'm making the choice to be aligned with my goal. I'm making the choice to go to the gym, even if it's for 5 minutes. Like, this is how you use these tiny habits, these tiny choices to reinforce behaviors that support and align with your goal. And this is how you reach success for achieving that goal. It's all about the choices that we make every single day throughout the day. And the same is true with, let's say you get angry. Let's say you're just like, God, I get angry with my boyfriend all the time. And all I want to do is just not be angry. Okay, let's say that's your goal. So what behavior are you going to choose instead of anger, right? So in these moments of, your boyfriend, I don't know, whatever it is that triggers you, right? You walk in the house and the house isn't clean or something like that. I don't know. And you immediately go to your conditioned behavior of, I'm going to be mad, right? But you just told yourself earlier that you were not going to be mad, that you did not want to be mad, that was not a behavior that you wanted to continue, right? So in this moment, you have a choice. You can choose either to be mad, or you can choose to not be mad, right? And you can choose another feeling. You can say, okay, I am upset. I acknowledge I'm frustrated, but I'm not going to lash out in anger, right? Because there's a huge difference there. Instead, I'm going to go in, I'm going to talk to him about whatever, and you are going to be mindful the whole time, completely conscious as you have a conversation to talk about whatever it is that is frustrating or upsetting or concerning to you, but you aren't going to lash out in anger, right? So when you start to make a decision about the goals and the choices that you will make to reach those goals, you will notice that the more your choices are aligned with your goals, the more you will begin to trust yourself. And that essentially, building trust with yourself is going to catapult you to a level of more focus, more discipline, and just like more self-acceptance. And self-acceptance is really what you need in order to be able to make a difference in your life, okay? The other thing or tactic, tip I would give you is, when you are deciding like, hey, I'm going to go on a diet, or, I'm going to change this behavior, or whatever the case may be, the best thing you could do is almost plan out your days based on your goal, meaning, and not necessarily your day, but I guess the moments, right? So let's say my goal is, I'm going to lose weight. Okay. But I'm traveling for the next 5 weeks, right? What am I going to do in order to make sure that I am aligned with that goal and I'm not making excuses, right? So maybe it's, like every time you go to the airport, you go get a, pretzel or something like that, right? Or a Cinnabon, or, whatever it is. And so this time you're like, okay, instead of going to get that pretzel or Cinnabon that I know I'm going to want, that I know I'm going to crave, right? I am going to, pack my bag with, an alternative snack of some sort. Maybe it's fruit, maybe it's some dried fruit, maybe because maybe you just want it to be sweet or salty or whatever the case is, right? You know yourself, so it may not be a great equivalent, but you know what, it will be aligned with your goals, with your purpose, and with your intention. So preparing in advance and saying, okay, I know I'm going to want that, but instead this is what I'm going to do, will help you to have less anxiety, less stress, and feel more empowered by the choices that you are making in that moment, and be able to better choose the conscious choice that is aligned with your goals, rather than going along with kind of your habitual habits or your habitual choices. Because again, kind of similar to the whole comfort video that I made, it's not about this choice feels better or feels more comfortable. This is just a choice that you are used to making. But recognize this is a choice I'm used to making because of a behavior I have that I no longer want, right? And so remember your why. Remember why you're doing what you're doing, and decide on purpose that I am going to choose what is aligned with my goals. And if you decide, okay, I'm not going to choose that, recognize that too. And tell yourself, okay, my goal is this, but you know what? Right now I'm making the choice of this, and I have no reason except I, just want to do this in this moment, right? But at least you're telling yourself that you are making a choice to not be in alignment with your goals. Like, you're owning it, you are being accountable for it. And doing that is going to make you show up differently, because you're training the mind that you are in control of making choices, and that the choices that you choose are either aligned or not aligned with the goals that you see in front of you, right? The other thing that you want to do is really, really start to become almost like the scientist of your mind. Really begin to understand why you make the choices that you make, and how do those choices shape the behavior that you have that either you want or you don't want. And it's important to look at both sides. It's important to look at the choices that you make that are completely aligned with your behavior, and it's also important to look at the choices that are not at all aligned with your behavior, because you want to be able to assess each of them and start to make sure that the choices that you make are very conscious, very aligned with your behavior. You want to recognize and see that pattern so that you can apply that particular pattern with your unconscious choices, okay? Now, unconscious choices are a bit harder to identify because you're doing them habitually, right, and consistently, and you may not even recognize it. So write down your goals, whatever they might be, and then start to be more present in every moment and all the choices that you make. So whether it be about love and romance, dating, healthy living, eating, exercising, etc. If you, for example, are like, oh, I want to lose weight, I want to do this, like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm so focused on this. And then you notice, like, when it's, I don't know, you get off work and it's 7 o'clock and you're like, okay, I'm supposed to go to the gym at 7. And then you start making excuses about why you can't go. Recognize those thoughts. What are those thoughts about? What are they telling you? Why are you coaching yourself in your mind not to do something that is aligned with your goals, right? You have to be the parent of your mind. And in those moments, you have to understand what your mind is doing and why, and then choose to replace those thoughts. So for example, if you're supposed to go to the gym at 7 and you've made that commitment because you are focused on, making these goals come to life and you want to see that 6-pack or whatever it might be, what you need to do is say, mind or whatever it is, like, I hear you. And that is usually what we do. We usually make excuses about why we are not going to make choices that are aligned with our goals. But in this moment, we are going to the gym. Once you start to shift your mind and make it understand that you are in control and that you are going to make choices and that you are going to change your behavior and make choices that aligned with the new behavior that you want, your mind will begin to support you. It's not going to be easy at first, especially if you spend a lot of time not being aligned with your goals. It's certainly going to be a struggle, but the more you stay in charge and you make conscious decisions of the why you're doing things, you will be able to make the choices that get you to the goal and destination that you seek. Okay, now I will be doing a part 2 of choices because I think choices are huge just in life, and I want to talk a little bit more about some of the underlying choices that we make that are habitual, that are unconscious, but are super hard to identify. And I want to give you a little bit more tools on how you can identify those as well. So definitely stay tuned to part 2. But for now, that's all I have. Love you guys. Namaste.